Architecture, the study of buildings and what they provide to society. Good architecture provides purpose and feeling, and it tells a story. When it's done well, it can be absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, there's a good chance you won't be able to do that. Why, you ask? Is it too competitive? Are people not interested in it? Is it not even a good career option? Not exactly. The actual reason? It's because of the academic curriculum. The architecture curriculum is so intense that you'll probably never be able to be an architect in the first place. And so, as it stands, the architecture curriculum overloads the student to the point where they don't want to continue into the field. And so, I propose that lowering the workload of architecture students by only a small amount would make the experience far less stressful, way more enjoyable, and actually more would be learned. So let me go over my terms real quick. What do I mean by workload? By workload, I mean the number of deliverables required before every single class. And what do I mean by small amount? Well, in every class session, studio session, a certain number of deliverables is required before every single class. And I'm proposing to just lower the quantity of deliverables before each class. And what this allows it to do is it allows to focus on more specific types of deliverables rather than focusing or rather than having one of every single category. And some examples include physical models, digital models, drawings, renderings. These are all the standard to have before every single class. So, going to my very first point, the biggest reason why the architecture curriculum needs to change is because of the effect that it has on students. A quote from architect Bob Borson says that it's difficult to uphold a healthy lifestyle and maintain personal relationships with those outside of architecture. We pull a heck ton of all-nighters, we might not eat right, and might not get enough sleep. So the reason why so many people don't even graduate from architecture school is because of how intense the curriculum is on their minds, on their bodies, and on their souls. It takes everything out of you, and it's not exactly an enjoyable process. Many students are sleep deprived out of their minds, and their livelihoods are focused around and centralized around the architecture studio itself. And rather than enjoying the college experience, architecture becomes the college experience. It makes students so isolated in their work that the daily schedule looks something like this: work all day and all night, then prepare your prints in the morning, go to studio, which is a 4 hour long session, which could even go on for longer, have dinner, go to bed, repeat the cycle. There's no extra time. Any time spent outside trying to actually enjoy college is time wasted, which leads to even more all nighters, which leads to even less sleep. Architecture eliminates the social life of college. And this is exactly why just reducing the workload would make such an incredible difference for the curriculum and for the far better. And all this struggle, all this pain, just simply caused by a curriculum that assigns too much work? What's stopping it from being changed? Leading to my second point, talking about the change in the architecture curriculum. Curriculums are a rather challenging topic to discuss sometimes because it may take a long time to come into effect. Usually, when people think about changing a curriculum, they think about, oh, like, how do you change the topics, the techniques, the scheduling, and how would exams, how would all those need to be changed? However, this is not the point that I'm trying to make. I'm stating that just a simple reduction in workload is all that is required. I'm like, not a change in how the system is taught, literally just assigning less homework. From this, the students will actually able to improve on each specific aspect of deliverables rather than having a large quantity of mediocre quality. Essentially, the current architecture curriculum prioritizes quantity over quality of work. And so, for example, why should a student get burnt out trying to complete all the list of deliverables while only showing up with just not even average at best work? And So this is why focusing on fewer deliverables will actually allow the student to learn and gain more experience faster because they're able to focus on one material at a time. And so this allows to create good quality deliverables over a longer period of time because you show up with one good set of deliverables, and then when you show up with multiple good deliverables, you'll have a stronger project because you're able to focus on everything at a time. And so this just makes sense to have the student excel in all areas rather than to be just average in everything. And by allowing the workload to be simpler, it will actually make it a more appealing major to study, which leads me to my third point. This simple change creates a multitude of benefits. Firstly, it makes the major more appealing to study, meaning there would actually be more of an incentive to see it as a career option. And not only this, but many architecture students will actually enjoy their college experience because right now, where it stands, if you ask an architecture student how their life is going, the majority of their answers will look something along the lines of either they're stressful, they're tired, or they're unmotivated. And with this change, the students will also be able to have expertise in all forms of architectural representation, having good quality in many different forms when time is spent on every single one of them individually. And lastly, with more people in the architecture program, more people are actually able to become architects, which can create more innovation, which can create new ideas for the future of architecture and what it could possibly lead up to. So to conclude, I know this may sound like a personal rant. However, I speak for the entirety of all architecture students. A simple reduction in workload can change the entirety of our curriculum and the future of the professional field as it stands. Architecture's main roadblock is the overly intense academic workload, and this is why students drop out after their first year. The topics of study and techniques are perfectly reasonable. Don't change those. But it just needs to be reduced in the amount of the deliverables per class. And doing this will greatly benefit the academic experience of architecture. And doing so will also increase the appeal of study of architecture, leading to a more diverse future in the industry. So, I thank you for listening and have a good one.